one of the beliefs, again, that goes back to inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, to God we belong and to Him we shall return, is the fact that, whether you believe in God and accept while in this life or not, everybody dies and everybody has to, according to Islamic tradition, go and meet God at some point. So if you already, submitted and believed in God during this life, then the idea is that you will go and meet God happily, knowing that you've done everything to the best of your ability. So you're ready for the meeting. Otherwise, you'll be, you wish you were returned to life so you can do better deeds and good deeds. And in that case, the angels will be like, not very nice and pulling people by the scruff of their necks. So these are the people who are compelled to return to God, and they did not choose to go to God. So I guess I would like to ask you, and think for 1 second or a couple of seconds of, what are your own personal beliefs with regard to the hereafter? Like, have you given it thought before? Do you have an image of what it might be like, or you avoid thinking of the question, or?
I'm a Mormon, and our belief is that we go to a spirit world where it's like divided, like paradise and prison, and it's just kind of a waiting place until the judgment day, and then after that we're sent to, we believe in 3 degrees of glory. Everyone's resurrected, good or bad, and there's 3 kingdoms, the celestial, terrestrial, and celestial kingdom, and so you end up in one of those, and they're all greater than the earth is, but they're in different degrees of glory.
Okay, and people go there depending on their deeds in this world?
Their righteousness and their deeds.
Okay, and do you have to be a Mormon to go to one of those 3 places, or it doesn't matter?
You have to be baptized by the proper authority.
Okay, thank you. And who else would like to share? Sarah, you're smiling?
I don't know.
You didn't give it a thought?
I think about it all the time, but...
You have no clear answer? Okay.
I feel that there's a spirit that lives on, and I'm not sure I think a whole lot about, I don't feel like it's for me to judge who I think is going to go where, or whatever, but I think that's kind of the basics of it.
I would agree with that. I believe that there are spirits that live on.
Mm-hmm. And they can interact with this world while we're still here, or?
Yeah, I think that they can, I think you can have some communication with people who've passed on, if that's what you're...
Through a dream, like what, in your waking hours, or in dream, or both, or?
Both.
Okay, so that's a feeling that comes, like if you know somebody dear who passed or something, that's what you would think that...
Like if you feel their presence, or, I don't go around feeling like that's an everyday occurrence, but...
Right.
But I don't also, I think the integrity I want to live my life with, it's not because I'm worried about that, if that makes sense, about the afterlife.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, obviously I believe in heaven and hell, and I think that the determination of where you go is determined by prayer and action, or faith and action. And so I'm not a huge believer in, I haven't given much thought about everyone's salvation, but I'm not a huge believer in the idea of Savior through one person, or Christ is the only path, or I never have been. And actually, I have I've met several people within the church that I belong to that are of the same belief that if you believe in God and have faith in God and have proper actions, and that prayer without action is not worth anything, and action without prayer isn't worth anything either. And so the combination is kind of what I believe is how you get to heaven.
Thank you. Yeah, actually in Islam, like one of the textbooks I use again in teaching is by an author called Dani, and one of the distinctions he tried to make, and he goes like, and Islam, like Judaism, is an orthopraxy and not an orthodoxy, meaning like it's not just like your belief, but you have to go out and work on your actions and get, earn these points that would take you to paradise. And that's a whole, interesting discussion as well. Okay, thank you all for sharing. And Tyler and Stephanie, I guess we'll get you to share about other things. Okay, so here, according to Islamic belief or general Islamic belief, because I'm sure you'll find also, differences sometimes within the same religion, is again the messengers are sent, and if you're a Muslim, you believe in the Prophet Muhammad and all the prophets that came before, but you might decide like, oh, I don't really believe in that. But so as a human being with free will, you're free to accept or reject prophetic messages, and then again, you die, and then our person dies, and the belief is that they will meet God, and there is no escape. And so again, this idea of returning to God ties in with the idea of Touheed that you've heard of, the belief in the oneness of God, that God, send them, there is prophecy, they send the prophets, and then they return. So they are all interrelated. So the Touheed, the singularity of God as all reality, prophecy, the guidance toward that one God, and with a warning of judgment. If you misbehave, if you don't believe, this and that will happen to you. And then connection to the trust. So the whole idea is that our life here on earth, like the other day in one of the presentations, I didn't attend all the other lectures, but the word Khalifa, and Khalifa was mentioned, like the Arabs after the Prophet died, they had the rulers and they called them Khulafa and so on. But that comes from the term in the Quran that means that indicates that humans are the stewards of God on earth. So we're here to do God's bidding. It's said that God asked the mountains and other creation to accept the trust, and they all said no, and then the human being accepted it. So, and when you have a trust, it's something kept with you, but it's not yours, so you have to return it, and your life is a trust that you have to return to God one day. So all creation returns to God, and then once you're there, you're told, okay, you had this with you, how did you, it's like returning a car after you rent it. It's like, does it have nicks? Is it in a good condition? Did you bump it? So what did you do with your life? Did you take care of your, body and soul, or were you reckless?